Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Jones, Associate State Director of Advocacy and Outreach for AARP Illinois, and I'm here with Courtney Hederman, Senior Associate Director of Advocacy and Outreach. We together are your fraud-fighting fraudlets.
Yay! Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being on this call. We're happy to be here together.
So we're thrilled to bring you the latest on frauds and scams across the state and ultimately arm you with the information that you need for prevention and reporting if you're ever a victim. Courtney and I host a monthly virtual event on fraud and scams. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. Each month we discuss a topic and we include special guests too. So we're excited to be coming to you today through this Tele-Town hall. And we're going to talk about fraud advocacy issue that is currently being debated in Springfield. It's all about cryptocurrency kiosks. Illinois state senators voted on a bill, which was Senate Bill 2319, which was championed by State Senator Laura Ellman. And it's to fight fraud at the crypto ATMs or kiosks. It passed out of the Senate yesterday, 39-19. This bill now goes on to the House to be voted on. Leader Curtis Harver II is the sponsor in the House, and we thank him for picking it up. Nationally, almost $6 billion was stolen last year in cryptocurrency scams, and older adults lost more than any other age group. We want to make sure that Illinoisans don't lose more of their hard-earned money. But to unpack all of this, we're delighted to be joined today by two special guests. State Senator Laura Ellman of the 21st District and Jake Hamilton, the Interim Regulatory Innovation Officer for the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Thank you, Senator Ellman and Jake, for being here, and welcome to the call. By the end of today's call, you should know more about cryptocurrency and how to protect yourself from fraud. And we will share resources on where you can get more information and assistance if you need it. In just a moment, you'll be able to ask us questions, so start thinking of your questions now. Now, you also may want to grab a pen and paper just to take notes.
Great. Thank you so much, Teresa. Hey, everybody, this is Courtney. So before we start, we would like to share that AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan social mission organization, and that we're in your corner fighting on issues that matter to you and your family. The AARP Fraud Watch Network is a nationwide effort to arm people with the tools they need to spot and avoid scams. Now, if you've participated in one of our Tele-Town halls before, you know we're kind of like a radio kind of talk show where you have the opportunity to ask questions or make comments. So if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question at any point during our call, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member or volunteer. The staff member or volunteer will note your name and question and place you in the queue. We're also streaming on Facebook and YouTube today, so thank you for those that are listening. So if you're on any one of those platforms, please feel free to put your questions in that chat, and we'll make sure we get to those questions as well. So again, press *3 on your telephone keypad if you'd like to ask a question. And again, put those comments and questions in the chat functions within our streaming services of Facebook and YouTube today. Okay, so before we get to live callers and any questions anybody has, let's give our wonderful special guest an opportunity to share some thoughts. We are so thankful and so grateful for our two special folks here today, especially our leader in this whole effort, which is Senator Laura Ellman. Thank you so much. Let's have you kick us off. Thank you for being on the call, Senator.
Oh, thank you, Courtney, and thank you, Teresa. I want to give a shout out to AARP because, you know, I know, and probably everybody on the call knows that scams are nothing new. People have been scamming each other for probably centuries. But nowadays, with new technology, there are new ways people are inventing to scam us out of our money. It's almost like whack-a-mole. And every day unfortunately, I'm finding that we are just inventing better and better ways to be horrible to each other. So that's why I'm so glad that AARP is out there to educate, to notify, to listen, and put your ear to the ground to what the latest scams are. Because I'll tell you, as a legislator, in my district, I use AARP to help inform my constituents, but I also use AARP to be informed myself and have what's next when it comes to scams on the radar. And just to let everybody know, so we're going to talk about the crypto kiosk bill, Senate Bill 2319. And AARP has been with us shoulder to shoulder advocating for its members, for the public at large, for some really great consumer protection provisions when it comes to crypto kiosks. So I really look forward to digging into the details with everybody and look forward to your questions. And I'm really thrilled to be here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Senator Ellman. Really appreciate you and the leadership that you've shown throughout this entire process. And thanks for the kind words for AARP. We appreciate that, too. Also, outside of Senator Ellman today, we are very, very lucky because we have Jake Hamilton from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, and he, as well, with Senator Ellman and us at AARP, the department, in particular Jake, has been with us shoulder to shoulder, too, on the crypto kiosk bill. So thank you so much for being here, Jake. We appreciate you, and please share any opening remarks as well.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Many thanks to AARP Illinois for inviting NAFDR to this great event that's going to shed some light on these really important issues of digital asset kiosks and cryptocurrency scams. I'd also, of course, like to thank Senator Ellman and Courtney and Teresa for standing shoulder to shoulder throughout this whole process and for being such strong advocates for consumer protections in Illinois that will create safeguards for anybody looking to use a digital asset kiosk. Cryptocurrency scams and digital asset kiosks are an area that IDFDR has been monitoring closely in recent years as the prevalence of scams happening has grown. With reportedly over 1,600 unregulated digital asset kiosks currently operating in Illinois, we believe that these regulations are critically needed. These kiosks look like typical ATMs that are usually located in gas stations and convenience stores across the state. The easy access to kiosks and nature of cryptocurrency transactions has made them portals for cryptocurrency scams, costing Illinois residents millions of dollars. Scams at digital asset kiosks have become quite common, not just in Illinois, but across the United States. An FBI report on cryptocurrency fraud showed that in 2023, there were more than 5,500 complaints linked to digital asset kiosks in the U.S., and that was linked to losses totaling over $189 million. What's even worse is how quickly these scams can happen. In the course of working on this legislation, I spoke with one Springfield resident who lost $6,000 to a scam in a single trip to a digital asset kiosk. She was eventually stopped by the shop's business owner, who later decided to remove the kiosk from his business, saying, quote, 100% of the time that we saw somebody at the machine, they were being scammed. Last month, my own parents nearly fell victim to a crypto scam when someone confused them and almost got them convinced into taking out tens of thousands of dollars from their bank to put into a digital asset kiosk. Thankfully, we were able to stop the scam before my parents lost any money, but not everybody is fortunate enough to have a financial regulator for a son. These scammers are sophisticated, and this only shows that anybody can be a target. And that's why it's so important to pass legislation that will protect Illinois consumers and regulate the digital asset kiosk industry. This legislation, Senate Bill 2319, is going to do just that. It will help reduce the prevalence of scams at digital asset kiosks and give legitimate victims of scams the ability to recoup their lost savings. This legislation will require operators to register with IDFDR, limit daily transactions for new customers, cap transaction fees, and provide refunds to victims when scams or fraud do occur. Senate Bill 2319 will make Illinois a national leader in protecting consumers from harmful cryptocurrency scams and create a common sense regulatory framework while also fostering a fair and thriving marketplace that allows legitimate digital asset kiosk operators to continue their business in Illinois.
Well, thank you, Jake. And again, thank you, Senator Ellman. So again, I would like to take this opportunity to remind our listeners that if they have any questions at this time during this call, they can press *3 on their telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note their name and question and place them in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you will be online with our guest. So let's start with some questions that we know a lot of people are concerned about and might even have questions on. We're going to start with you, Senator Ellman. Now, you've worked so hard all session on making Senate Bill 2319 the best piece of legislation possible. Thank you for your leadership. Can you share your motivation for getting involved in this issue?
Senator Ellman, if you are talking,
I'm muted.
Oh, there
Thank
you go.
You. Sorry. I
I
started talking. I don't know exactly what I said, but it was great. No, thank you for your question. I've actually been working on crypto for a couple of years now, and with IDFPR, who they've got great levels of expertise on this issue. But really what motivated me, looking back, I've actually been interested in this for a while, and it really started with blockchain. When I worked in manufacturing and engineering, when I first heard about blockchain, I thought about the uses that it could be for supply chain and lot traceability, and really got interested in it in that way. And then I learned a little bit more about cryptocurrency and how that works. And of course, since then, this has probably been 6-7 years, maybe more. Since then, crypto has really, really taken off and permeated the landscape globally and across the country. So I actually carried a larger cryptocurrency regulatory bill last year and the year before. We weren't able to get it over the finish line. My colleague, Senator Mark Walker, who is awesome, he carried that bill in the House, and now he's got that larger regulatory crypto bill here in the Senate. And I am number one cheerleader in trying to get that passed during this session. So it's kind of started with curiosity, but then it really culminated in seeing how these scams can really affect people and, oftentimes take their life savings. So I'm very passionate about this subject.
Yeah, well, thank you. So in addition to the work by Senator Ellman, Jake, you and the Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, you've been equally involved. Can you share why the department has a stake in this and why you feel it's important that the cryptocurrency industry is regulated?
Absolutely. Thanks, Teresa, for the question. So as the state's financial regulator, we want to make sure that there are protections in place for all of the financial service products that are offered in Illinois. And that applies to digital asset kiosk and the digital asset products more broadly. Like Senator Ellman talked about, IDFPR has been thinking about and looking at digital assets for a number of years. We first proposed legislation with Senator Ellman to regulate cryptocurrency back in 2023. And before that, we did a bunch of research and issued a report on blockchain technology in 2020. And what we've seen is that as the cryptocurrency industry has grown, which has been a lot over the last 5 or 6 years, more and more people are interacting with digital asset financial products that are unregulated, both at the state and federal level in Illinois. And unfortunately, as the cryptocurrency industry has grown without regulations in place, there have been a number of issues, including a number of cryptocurrency-related bankruptcies in 2022 and a very large growth in cryptocurrency scams. So we think it's really important to put these regulations in place for the cryptocurrency industry so that we can ensure businesses in Illinois are operating safely and soundly, and so that we can also protect consumers from harmful scams.
Great. Thank you so much, Jake, and thank you, Senator Ellman. Perhaps before we get to our live questions and callers, and just a reminder for everybody, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to get your questions in, because then you'll go live with our group here, and you can ask your question to Senator Ellman and to Jake. So press *3 on your telephone keypad if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment. So before we go to that, maybe I know obviously Teresa kind of led into the call about talking about Senate Bill 2319 and that there was action yesterday. So maybe, Senator Ellman, do you want to kind of give just a little status on the bill, what just happened, and kind of what happens next?
You bet. So Senate Bill 2319, it's a Senate bill. It just got voted on in the Illinois Senate yesterday. And so after having voted on it, it passed. So the Senate voted to pass it. Now it goes to the House. And Representative Tarver has got the bill in the House. So it will have to go through committee there and then get voted on in the House. If it gets amended, then it will come back to the Senate. And then when all is said and done and it passes both houses, then it will go to the governor to be signed and turned into law. And then after that, then it goes into IDFPR's hands, they have to promulgate rules to actually get all of the mechanics of this in procedures and practices and forms, and everything has to kind of turn into something that can be used to regulate this industry.
Yep, great. That's perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that was a piece we wanted to make sure that was included, because this is really exciting, because since it's past one chamber, now it's going over to the other. I mean, it has great momentum. And so we're so happy to be, in this moment right now talking about this, and it has such great momentum, like I said. So wonderful. Thank you for that update. We're super excited to be bringing our questions and our callers live here. Again, please, just as a friendly reminder, please press *3 on your telephone keypad if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment. I also actually just saw some questions coming in from Facebook as well. So for our Facebook and YouTube listeners, please continue to put those in there, and we will be going live with your questions. So let's just start right now. So I believe we have Delilah from Chicago. Are you there?
Yes. How is everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. I have a question for Senator Ellman. I've heard a lot about crypto. So I became an investor about 6 months ago, but I have no idea what I invested in, but I hear a lot of talk about it, so I figured I'd jump on the train and become, invested in it. If you could explain to me, please, exactly what is crypto coins?
Sure.
I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And then I'll say something, but I'm going to ask Jake also to weigh in too. So cryptocurrency there are a lot of different brands, so to speak, of cryptocurrency. The one that comes to my mind right now is Bitcoin, but there are a lot of different names of different types of cryptocurrency. But basically, it's kind of they say it's a store of value. So it's kind of like if you go and you buy some stock, for example, you don't necessarily have a certificate of that stock, but it's got a price that you pay, and it's got some value. Now, over time, that value can go up and down. So when you look at the stock exchange, sometimes those prices go up, and then sometimes those prices go down. And so you can sell your crypto. If you buy it, you'll buy it at a certain price, And then if you sell it, you want to try to sell it so that the price is higher and you actually can make money. And so that is that's one of the uses that I've found that people choose to buy crypto, so that they kind of use it as an investment. But it's really just it's something that has a price. I don't think that that you can really, you can't use it in the store to buy things. It's just a way to you buy it at a certain price and then you sell it at whatever market price comes in later. Does that help, Delilah?
Hopefully it does. I know she's still on the call,
Oh,
but
she got up.
So
okay, I'm sorry. So I hope that answered. But Jake, if you want to chime in too, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Senator Ellman, and thank you, Delilah, for your question. I'm really happy that you asked this. I think there is a lot of confusion in the cryptocurrency industry, and Delilah, there's probably a lot of people like yourself who maybe have heard about investing in this new kind of digital type of asset without really understanding what exactly it is. So I'll try to break that down a little bit for you, and I might get a little bit nerdy for a second, but I promise not too nerdy. So just bear with me. But digital assets and cryptocurrencies are a byproduct of a technology called blockchain technology. And what blockchain technology is it's kind of, I would just describe it as like a fancy ledger or a fancy checking book that operates completely digitally and completely online. And one of the big things of blockchain technology is that it allows people on the internet or online to keep track of transactions without a central intermediary. So we would all be familiar with banks do this task for most of us in our day-to-day lives. If you have a checking account, your bank keeps track of every time you send money out of that checking account or every time you put money into that checking account. Your bank keeps track of all of that, and that they're a central intermediary. Blockchain technology can kind of keep track of those types of transactions without somebody, a central authority, running all of that. It actually kind of is like it uses everybody socially together to keep track of the transaction. And so what cryptocurrencies are they are representations of value on a blockchain. So, Bitcoin, for example, which is the biggest cryptocurrency, it is what it represents value on the Bitcoin blockchain. The second biggest cryptocurrency, Ether, represents value on the Ethereum blockchain. And so it's kind of important to understand crypto is understanding that technology that kind of lies beneath it, which is the blockchain technology. And like Senator Ellman talked about, these representations of value are completely digital and they exist online. So they're not something that exists in the physical world, like gold, for example. But they do go up and down in value, kind of based on what the market for each of them are. And so Bitcoin, for example, can fluctuate quite a bit from day to day, and a lot of people invest in it or purchase Bitcoin, hoping that it'll go up in value. But it, over time, it has gone up and down, and so I think a lot of people speculate on cryptocurrency with the hope that what they bought one day will be worth more in the future. But really, what they are is a type of technology that helps keep track of different transactions. I hope that helps.
Oh, that's great. Jake and Senator Ellman, seriously, perfect descriptions, honestly. I think this has been so wonderful. I'm so glad that Delilah asked this question because I think it has been very confusing for a lot of folks, especially those that are maybe just dipping their toes in it or they haven't and they're just not really sure what that is. You just did a great job in summing up what really cryptocurrency is, so thank you for that. Okay, so again, friendly reminder, everybody, if you have a question or a comment, please press *3 on your telephone keypad or put your comment or question in the chat, whether you're listening on Facebook or YouTube. Okay, so let's go to our next caller. I believe we have Gary from New Boston. Gary, are you there?
It's Raylan, his widow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Apologies. Thank you so much for being on the call. Did you have a question or comment you'd like to share?
Yes, my question is, according to the U.S. Constitution, only Congress can issue currency. So how can cryptocurrency legally exist?
Thank you. That's a great question. So cryptocurrency is not legal tender. It is not issued by the government. It's not part of the money supply. It's just things that it's a digital asset that people buy. So it's not really money. It's got currency in the name, but that I think is just something that has evolved. You can't pay for stuff with it. You can't go to the grocery store and say, "Here's my cryptocurrency for my groceries." It's really just a digital asset, like Jake said. So it's just another thing that you can buy with your real money.
Yep, that's exactly how I describe it too, Senator. Jake, did you want to add anything before we move on? Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer, Senator Ellman. I would just add that a lot of times the way I describe it or think of it is sometimes digital assets or cryptocurrencies are like a private version of fiat currency. And when I say fiat currency, I mean government-backed currency like dollars or euros. You could think of cryptocurrency as a privatized version of that. And there are some cryptocurrencies that are, pegged or designed to be stable enough that they mimic the value of the dollar, for example. But those aren't currencies issued by our government, so it's more like a private version of that.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. Great. Thank you so much. So we have actually a Facebook user that has a question. It's from George, and George asks, "How would I know how to spot a scam, a cryptocurrency scam? Like, what should I'm guessing probably like, wait a minute, what should I be looking out for? How would I know that it's a scam? What should I know about that?"
Great, and please, I'd love to get other folks and Jake to chime in on this too. From what I understand about crypto scams, they're very, very similar to other types of scams. So, like, I don't know about you, but I get texts that say, you owe the tollway authority so much money, and go to this link to repair it or to pay your bill. I never do that. I never, ever do that. But similarly, I think scammers will reach out to somebody and say, you have got a bill that you need to pay, or you are in violation of something or other, and the only way to repair this is to go to this crypto kiosk machine, use this kind of QR code, or and go here, get cash, and then follow the instructions from there. So that has got all of the earmarks of scams that you have also probably are aware of. So keep an eye out for that. If somebody says that you need to take care of something by penalty of law, or you'll really be in big trouble, the only way out of it is to put cash in a machine, beware. So that's the kind of example that I've heard of where crypto kiosks are used in a scam. It's just a new way to deliver money to someone who shouldn't be getting it. Jake or Courtney or Teresa, do you have other examples?
Jake, did you want to go?
Senator,
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Senator, I completely agree. Very often you hear about, someone trying to impersonate the government or different government entities like the FBI or the IRS or some kind of road or toll authority. And oftentimes in these scams, what they try to do is they try to scare people or make them think that they've made a mistake or there's some kind of big issue that needs to be fixed immediately. And so once they've, kind of convinced somebody that, they are on the hook for some kind of money, they will ask them to go to their bank and pull money out of their bank and then put that money into cryptocurrency. I think that's a red flag right there. Anytime somebody that you don't know personally is asking you to take money out of your bank and put it into cryptocurrency without you already thinking that you wanted to do that, that's a big red flag for how to spot scams. And, I think there are some other red flags. Lots of times when these scammers send out, texts or phone calls, the texts especially, there's often a lot of typos in them or like the links don't make sense or might not, they might say they're from Amazon or FedEx, but then the link will just be, a big alphabet soup of letters and numbers. Those are red flags as well. And then if you ever are on the phone with something, let's say somebody's talking to somebody that is a scammer, and you're confused and you don't know what's going on, I would say one of the biggest red flags is that the scammers will try everything they can do to keep you from talking to somebody else because they don't want somebody else to come in and chime in and say, hey, this thing that you're talking about, this might be a scam. When I talked about my mom earlier, when that happened to her, that scammer begged her not to get off the phone with them. And she finally did. She hung up and, called me, and I kind of was able to talk to her and, kind of explain more of the situation. But even when she did hang up, he would not give up. He kept calling them back, and then he kept telling them, like, no, you can't talk to anybody else. You can only talk to me. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble if this gets out, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say that as well is a big red flag. If somebody that you're talking to is asking you to take money out of your bank or telling you not to say, like if you say, I want to call a family member about this or a friend about this, and they say, no, absolutely not, that's a really big red flag that you could be talking to somebody who's trying to scam you.
Yeah, absolutely. These are great examples and certainly very good tips. And not picking up the phone or certainly not doing anything as it relates to if someone's asking you to go to a kiosk or to give money these are wonderful tips, and it's the things we certainly see as well. So thank you both for answering this. Before we go on to our next caller, I just want to remind everybody to please press *3 on your telephone keypad if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment. Or again, if you're listening on Facebook or YouTube, please put your questions or comments in the chat. Okay, so we're going to go on to our next caller. I believe we have Thelma from Chicago. Thelma, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, thank you for being on the call. And please ask your question.
Well, is there any way you can find out where your wallet is if you bought crypto in 2014 and we don't know who has it?
Let me just make sure I understand your question. So you have a wallet and you're wanting to know how
to find out is it still valid, because we don't have the paperwork. When they were here in Chicago, 2014, was at the convention Bitcoin.
Okay.
And we bought $150 worth of Bitcoin at that time because it was so new. We just wanted to take a chance. But now we don't know where the paperwork is or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that. I don't know if either of you guys do. How would somebody go and find out where, if they have already established a wallet, where would they go, or how would they determine if then, in fact, that crypto is still there and how much it's worth then?
Courtney, I might be able to help out with this one. Yeah, this is a good question. I think a lot of people have experienced this, Thelma. So I'm sorry that you've had some difficulty, finding your wallet. But I can explain a little bit like what wallets are. So, again, because cryptocurrency exists completely online, your wallet is just an online thing as well. And back in 2014, there's really not a lot of rules around cryptocurrency. It's actually really new. And so when a lot of people bought cryptocurrency, they would put it into a wallet. And what a wallet has is it has a public identification number and then a private identification number, which would be like your password. But what that password is, that key, is often a string of letters and numbers that can be, a dozen or more characters long. And so it's actually very common that people who bought cryptocurrency early on lost their private key to their wallet and then have been unable to access it later. Selma, in your particular case, if you can track down where you initially bought the Bitcoin, did you buy it from a specific website? Was it a specific exchange that you bought it from? They may have put it into a wallet that they hosted for you. And if you reach out to that company, they may be able to help you kind of find where that is at. But a lot of people, if you've lost that private password, a lot of people have kind of lost access to Bitcoin over time. But I would start with if you know where you bought the Bitcoin from back in 2014, I think that would be a good place to start looking if they happen to host that wallet for you. But it is an area where this has kind of happened to a lot of people. So again, Thelma, I'm sorry that happened to you, but hopefully you might be able to find some more information about where that Bitcoin is being stored.
Great advice, Jake. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the question and, of course, for your advice for her. Appreciate that. Okay, so before we go on to our other callers, we want to ask everybody to participate in our poll. And it's very easy. You're just going to use your keypad to answer this question. Okay, so let me ask the question before you answer, and use your keypad. Okay, so just hear me out for just a second, and then please participate. So for everybody, how confident are you in your ability to spot a cryptocurrency kiosk scam? Okay, so that's the question. I'll say it again. How confident are you in your ability to spot a cryptocurrency kiosk scam? Now, this is where you use your keypad. Press 1 if you are very confident. Press 2 if you're somewhat confident. Press 3, not very confident, or press 4, not confident at all. So I'll go through this again. How confident are you in your ability to spot a cryptocurrency kiosk scam? Press 1 if you are very confident. You got this. Press 2, I think I got this. I'm somewhat confident. Press 3, not so sure, not very confident. And press 4, not confident at all. Not at all. Not at all. Okay, so we'll keep pressing those numbers. And we will give the results in a few minutes. So please, thank you very much in advance for participating in our poll. Okay, so we actually have another question as it relates from our Facebook users. And again, for anybody who's wanting to ask a question, press *3 on your telephone keypad. So press *3 on your telephone keypad to ask a question, or continue to put them in the chat on Facebook or YouTube. Okay, so Richard was super sweet, and actually he was a caller, I'll be honest. He was a caller, and he just didn't want to go live, but he really was interested in this. And so Richard shared that he is legally blind, and he was very curious if crypto kiosks and just cryptocurrency in general was something that he should be interested in, or is this something that he needs to pay attention to more, because he wasn't sure if it was for him. So not sure what you got, who would like to take this one, but that is our question from Richard, who lived in DuPage.
Well, I can give it a shot. thank you, Richard, for calling in and asking this question. This is really a purchasing question, much like if you wanted to go buy anything else, and you would really have to ask, does this bring value into my life? So, when you're buying food and furniture and things like that, those are the kinds of things that you ask yourself, do I really want this? Do I need this? Do I want this? And then if you're asking the question about crypto, like I said, a lot of times people will buy it in the hopes that the value will increase over time. But as Jake said, that value is really market driven. So it really depends on what other people are doing and the demand for that particular Bitcoin at the time that you want to sell it. So, prices go up and prices go down, and if that is something that you want to buy something and then watch the price over time for deciding when to sell, that would be something that you could potentially consider. That's the best argument. Jake, you can probably address that better.
No, you said it perfectly, actually. Everyone is going to be a different comfort level, and sometimes I always say, it's about dotting the I's and crossing the T's, right? And your risk and your comfort level on participating in things, especially something that's kind of more new or you're not just familiar with, right? So that's why I love that people are on this call and listening so they can actually learn more and understand it more, so that maybe they will at one point or another be interested in cryptocurrency if they aren't already. So I think it was great. Okay, so again, press *3 on your telephone keypad to get connected with an AARP staff member or volunteer to get all of your questions answered. So keep doing that, everybody. And again, for those on Facebook or YouTube, please continue to put your comments in the chat. Okay, so we do have somebody from YouTube that's listening. So thank you so much, and that's Steve. And Steve's question is, tell me more about how I should get involved in Senate Bill 2319. What should I do?
Well, Steve, I'm glad you asked. We really appreciate, so as a senator, I really appreciate hearing from my constituents. So I recommend you finding out who your House member is in Springfield, your House representative, and give them a call, or send them an email and ask them about Senate Bill 2319. You can also go to the website. I always use this website. It's not only for legislators, but it's for everybody, and it's called ilga.gov, ILGA.gov. And there's a little search item in the, you can search for legislation, and if you type in SB 2319 and hit enter, there's a chance for you, or a way for you to enter a witness slip that you can log your support, your opposition, or just your interest in that bill by signing a witness slip. So those are two ways to get involved.
I love it. Those are great ways. Absolutely. We want everybody to be calling their state representative and saying, please vote yes for Senate Bill 2319. And if you don't know who that is, yes, go to ilga.gov and you can look up your legislator. That's wonderful. So we are continuing with our callers and our questions. We have actually a lot of activity online, so I definitely want to make sure we get to everybody as much as we can. So we actually have Carol, who says that she's a constituent of yours, Senator Ellman. She says, thank you so much for your leadership and all that you do for us. So that's really sweet. And then asks, what else, or like what, how does this say? What is the issue that could happen where what might not pass. Like what could happen where it would maybe not pass? Is there opposition to the bill? And how can, again, she asked, how can we still get involved and help to make a difference to help people?
Thank you. And, you know, Carol is just an example of how great my constituents are. Carol, thank you for your call or for your comment. So probably the biggest opposition to this bill right now is the clock. We've only got a week left in session, and there's a lot that needs to happen in the House for it to go through committee, pass through committee, and then get to the floor for a vote. So, so your phone calls to your House representatives are going to help speed up the process and ensure that a yes vote, can happen on this bill. You know, much like people here on the call, a lot of times legislators don't necessarily know all that much about kiosks, and they're really looking to you for your interest and advocacy and your voice in how to vote for a bill. So please reach out to your House members and you know, show your support for Senate Bill 2319. As far as other opposition, this bill, I've been working on this, for a very long time. And the opposition that did exist, we've negotiated a lot of things. So there's really a broad level of agreement from industry, from consumer advocates like AARP, from the agency. So, so really, it's really the clock that is our biggest barrier right now to getting this passed, as far as I can see.
Yep, no, I completely agree with you. But I know we are going to get it over the finish line, and with everybody's help. So again, please reach out to your state representative and ask him or her to vote yes on Senate Bill 2319. Before we go on to our next folks, again, and please press *3 on your telephone keypad if you'd like to ask a question. We are ready for you, so please press *3 on your keypad. But want to give also the results of our polls. So remember, our poll question was, how confident are you in your ability to spot a cryptocurrency kiosk scam? And for those that answered, thank you so much for participating. We had 13% say they felt very confident. So 13% said very confident. 24% pressed 2, meaning they were somewhat confident. For those that were not very confident and pressed 3, it was 29%. And interestingly enough, the majority of folks who participated in this, 34% of you said that you are not confident at all. And so I really appreciate your honesty in this and your willingness to participate in this. And this also shows, to be honest, shows me and Teresa and everybody at AARP, plus Senator Ellman and even Jake with the department, that we need to do as much information and education about cryptocurrency scams, so then you do feel comfortable. We move that not comfortable at all or not confident at all to very confident. And so I'm glad that you're on this call. I'm glad you're getting information, and we will be sure to continue to follow up so you do feel comfortable and confident that you could spot a scam and avoid it, because that's the whole point, right? Avoiding scams. So again, thank you for participating in that. I don't know, I'm just curious, Senator Ellman or Jake, do you have any, reaction, I guess, to the poll answers?
Yeah, thank you. So 29% are not confident and 34% are not at all. That's 63% of people on this call who feel like they wouldn't be able to recognize a scam. And let me tell you that Senate Bill 2319 will help with that. For the people who are not on the call, who won't be able to see the scam when it hits them, Senate Bill 2319 does require that a crypto kiosk discloses There's warnings on potential scams that are going to be on the machines. There are disclosures on what you're getting into. There's a customer hotline that is always a live person that you can call to be sure when you're at the machine. So the Senate Bill 2319 will give people at the moment ways to double check and ask themselves, hey, is this a scam or not? And then get help right then and there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Jake, did you want to make any comments?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just underscores that the work that we're doing, and this legislation that we've been working on is just really, really important to make sure that we're doing everything we can to put protections in place and equip people with the knowledge and try to help them prevent these scams on the front end before they happen. But I would also like to point out, a part of this legislation is that we also put protections for consumers on the back end. So when these scams do occur, we want to give people a chance to give them an opportunity to get their money back. And so this legislation would actually require companies to refund people who were victims of scams. And so we think that's really important. And, I'm very glad that we put that in, just seeing, 63%, not confident in being able to spot a scam. And I understand why, because, a lot of this is confusing. It can be very difficult. So I'm just glad that we were able to get some strong consumer protections in on the front end, and then the back end as well, if in the worst circumstance someone is a victim of a scam.
Yep. Thank you both so much. Appreciate you. We have a few minutes left of the call, and so want to, again, for anybody who is wanting to ask a question, press star 3 on your telephone keypad, or put your comment in the chat functions within Facebook or YouTube. We did have a question from Rosie on Facebook, who asked, can you, this is for you, Jake, I believe, because it says, can you tell me what happens after the bill passes and what would be needed to make sure that we are protected?
Yeah, it's a great question. So after the bill passes, that is when that's when the work really begins for IDFDR as the agency. We would, like Senator Ellman said earlier, we would begin making rules that would be about the implementation of this law, and how we would set up a program within the department to get these companies that run all the cryptocurrency kiosks. They would have to register with the department, so we'd set that program up. And then we would start to work on our new regulatory program, where we would have regulations in place for these businesses that run these type of cryptocurrency kiosks. But I would say importantly too is that the consumer protections would go in place when the bill is passed. And so importantly, once the bill is signed into law, fingers crossed that we get there, then at that point we would have some protections in place for consumers. And so those disclosures that Senator Ellman talked about, those will, companies will have to start putting those if they're not already. Some of these transaction fee caps would be in place, and then the refund policy that I talked about would be in place as well. And so that's kind of the next steps after the bill is passed. But you can continue to you talk to your legislators. You can reach out to the department if you have comments. When we go through the rules process, there's a period for public comment, and it's always helpful to get public feedback as we go through the rules process. So if you want to offer comments of support and say, hey, this we're happy to see this is happening. We think these rules, these regulations are good. That's always helpful for the department to hear.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. We'll make sure that our AARP members know when the bill passes, as well as then, of course, next steps and how, you yourself can get involved and share thoughts with the department, et cetera. So this is great. I know we have just a couple more minutes, so I believe we have caller Leon from Chicago. Leon, are you there?
Yes.
Hi. Did you have a comment or a question?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I just want to thank you guys for bringing this program on because I learned so much from this program. I mean, I get anywhere from 30 to 40 calls a day about scams and stuff like that. And I just ignore them, but I just want to thank you guys because this has been so educational. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Leon. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. And good for you if you're not answering your phone, if you're getting a lot of scams. And I swear I get a lot of calls, too, more and more, it seems like. So, yes, thank you so much for listening and staying with us. Appreciate you. I can't believe it, but we are nearing the end of our call here. And so on behalf of Teresa Jones and myself, Courtney Hutterman, AARP Illinois, we want to say thank you to everyone for taking part in today's telephone town hall. As we close our conversation, though, we'd like to welcome, of course, our guests to share any closing comments. So we'll start with Senator Ellman, please. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for bringing this forward. And like Leon said, thank you for educating us. I opened with, AARP helps me as I'm about to turn 60 pretty soon. Somebody who's navigating just life as an older person and as a legislator. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for your interest, everybody, on this call on crypto kiosks and crypto kiosk scams. Stay vigilant out there. There's going to be a new scam around the corner. You can count on that. And also you can count on AARP to help educate you about these things as they come up. Thank you again. This has been really lovely. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Senator Ellman. Thank you. Thank you. Jake, how about you?
Yeah, I would just echo, Senator Ellman's comments and say thank you again to AARP for having us on today to talk about these issues, and to Senator Ellman for her continued advocacy and tireless work on this issue. And thank you to the listeners as well for, your engagement and your awesome questions, and for, helping us here at the last bit of session, getting this over the finish line. And I would just close by, stressing that while cryptocurrency is a newer technology and at times it can be confusing, at the end of the day, we need to just make sure that financial products are being properly regulated in Illinois and that consumers are being protected. And so that's what we're trying to do with this legislation, and we think it's going to go a long way to do that. And so we're really hoping that we can get this across the finish line. And, outside of that, IDFDR, the Office of Innovation, where I work, is here to help as well. So we have an open door policy, and AARP, can share my contact information. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any more questions or want to learn more about cryptocurrency and regulation or any other ways to protect yourself from scams.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Senator Laura Ellman and Jake Hamilton from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Thank you both of you for your leadership. Obviously, Senator Ellman, really kudos, congratulations to you and everything that you've done. And we're going to get this over the finish line. We're so grateful for the partnership we've established this legislative session especially. We're really excited about Senate Bill 2319 passing the Senate, and we look forward to it passing the House chamber, and lastly, of course, being signed into law by Governor Pritzker. We are hoping for that. So for all of you listening, you can help make this happen. Please contact your state representative and tell him or her to vote yes for Senate Bill 2319. Again, please contact your state representative and tell him or her to vote yes for Senate Bill 2319. We certainly want to close with this thought as well. Criminals are out there looking for their next victims, right? Just like Senator Ellman said, they're just right around the corner. But you do have the power to help protect yourself. If you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. So for the Fraud Watch Network, that's within AARP. So AARP's Fraud Watch Network, you can visit. So here are some of the resources that we talked about that we want to make sure you have before we end our call. So you can visit AARP AARP.org Watch Network. Again, that's AARP.org /Fraud Watch Network. To access information from AARP Illinois, so anything you want to know from us here in Illinois, you can go to AARP.org/IL. So again, that's AARP.org/IL. Teresa, I'm sending it to you.
All right. Well, on our webpage, you will find tip sheets on a range of scams, plus information on future events. So if you want to report a scam or you need help if you've fallen victim, you can call the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline. I have a phone number for you, so get that pencil ready. It's 1-877-908-3360. One more time, 1-877-908-3360. Or you can call your local law enforcement. So we apologize if we weren't able to answer your question directly, but we thank you all for participating in the discussion on these important topics. And we want you to stay safe out there. And we hope to connect with you at our next event. And I'm just going to add this for free. Don't forget to call your state representative and tell them to vote yes for Senate Bill 2319. Have a wonderful and safe holiday weekend. This concludes our call.